The following podcast you're about to listen to is brought to you by the Push Start Media Network, where everything you do in life begins with pushing start.
Dallas Cowboys. We are the Cowboys. Super coach, super team. Mean, hard, hungry, ugly, and mean. So get down, get down, get down, y'all. Dallas Cowboys. Cowboy football.
Did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back to another edition SYE Quick Hits. I'm your humble host, Bryce Benjamin, along with my co-host, Ed Reuter, and we are talking the Dallas Cowboys 2020 season preview, baby. Reuter, what's good, bro?
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
I never really wanted to say that before until just now.
I mean, it fits. We're
I was-
talking about them.
I always hated that.
We're
that
predicting their 2020 season.
that whole Jimmy Johnson. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Always hated that.
America's team, 2019 season. Very average, to say the least.
That's a great way to put that.
Started off hot, 3-0 start. Then got cold, lost 3 in a row. Then just kind of went up and down throughout the rest of the season. Had another 3-game losing streak in there towards the end. 8-8, lost the division to their hated rivals, Philadelphia Eagles. And, I mean, that pretty much sums it up, right?
Yeah, that's all there was to it.
Few injuries on the offensive line. You know, Dak Prescott balled out. Got to give him credit. You know, he threw for over 4,900 yards and 30 touchdowns. Was pretty much the main driving force on that offense, along with Zeke. Another 1,300-yard season for him. Decent season by Amari Cooper. And then, I mean, that was pretty much like, there's just the Cowboys. Like, they was in and out of the media. Everybody's going to talk about them and everything like that. So, 2019 wasn't too favorable. Ultimately, this led to the demise of longtime head coach Jason Garrett, who some would argue should have been fired.
For years.
For years.
I don't know how that guy clung to that job.
He was Jerry Jones' boy toy.
I think he must have cried a lot in meetings. Jerry, please. Please, Jerry. Please, no, Jerry. There must have been a lot of that going on.
I read a report that when he got fired, he was still just coming around the facilities.
Just hanging around.
Just hanging out. Like Jerry Jones would walk into the cafeteria like, Garrett, what the fuck?
just holding on to the chain link fence on the outside, just looking in.
Like he just walks into the cafeteria, he just staring Jerry Jones in the eyes, just so sadly, the puppy dog eyes, eating a slice of pizza.
Make him a ball boy or something.
Yeah,
keep
just
him on the field.
Just to have him around. Oh man, that's a weird situation. But anyways, 2020 offseason for the Cowboys was pretty favorable for them. First of all, they was able to retain Amari Cooper, give him a nice 5-year, $100 million extension. They has also been able to re-sign Sean Lee to keep that formidable linebacking core intact. And they made some beefy upgrades in their front four, signing Gerald McCoy and then also Dontari Poe. And then they was able to also sign HaHa Clinton Dix to try to help stabilize that secondary after the loss of Byron Jones to Miami. So Ed, how about this Cowboys team, man? Like legit, what do you think?
I think this is a division-winning team this year. There's looking them up and down. There's not a lot to where you'd say, "Wow, this is a big hole," or "Wow, they're missing this here." Looking them up and down, I see Dak Prescott throwing for 4,900 yards, almost 5,000 yards last year. They have 2,000-yard receivers in Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. They have Ezekiel Elliott, who's always doing his thing. Another 1,700 yards from scrimmage last year, 12 touchdowns on the ground, caught 50 passes. You already mentioned a lot of the great moves that they made on defense. I absolutely love the McCoy signing, even though he's a little bit older. Dontari Poe was always a great player. I have to mention Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. I mean, two great defensive players right there. What I will say, as I just got done saying, there's really no holes on this team. Maybe at corner a little bit that they're missing there, but I think that Xavier Woods and HaHa Clinton-Dix can pick up the difference there at safety. And this is a very, very strong roster that I think is finally going to have some really good coaching in Mike McCarthy, and this team comes away really strong this year. This is one of my strong predictions for the season, that the Cowboys run deep, as much as I hate to say that.
Okay. They also had a pretty good draft as well. They had fucking CeeDee Lamb, arguably the top receiver, just tumble down to them at 17. And then also in the second round was able to get one of the top corners available in Trayvon Diggs, the brother of Stefon Diggs in Buffalo, their wide receiver in Buffalo. So I do like the draft pick. They did lose Travis Frederick, one of the best centers in the league, and looks like they're going to be replacing him with Taylor Benitez. Am I saying that right? Center from Wisconsin?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. I mean, he's from Wisconsin. You know, Wisconsin, they breed offensive linemen, so I'm just going to predict that he's going to be good. Simple as that. And yeah, they had a pretty strong draft there for themselves. 2020 outlook for them, like, I have a lot of questions. My main thing with them, first of all, are they going to pay Dak? And he just signed his franchise tender a couple of days ago, so it looks like he's going to be playing under the franchise tag, but they still have time to work out a long-term deal, so we see what happens there. So are they going to pay Dak? And then also, is Mike McCarthy, did he just get a bad rep in Green Bay? Like, it seems like all the talk between when he was in Green Bay was he doesn't have an updated offense. It's very old school. He wasn't playing to Aaron Rodgers' strength. Or was that just all smoke, and was it really just Aaron Rodgers being a little crybaby?
I like how you framed that question for me. That's tough. It's either Mike McCarthy is no good and he's outdated, or Aaron Rodgers is a crybaby. Those are my options.
That's it.
That's what I have to go with.
That's what you got to work with.
Okay, if I have to work within those two options, I'm going then. I think Aaron Rodgers is a crybaby then.
Crybaby.
Under those circumstances. Yeah. I don't know that I would have said that otherwise, but I do agree with you that a lot of the disagreement there does lie on Aaron Rodgers. It seems as though a lot of the news that's coming out recently in the last few years is that, you know, Aaron Rodgers is a little bit hard to deal with. He is a tough to manage personality there. And I think Mike McCarthy did get a bad rap there. I mean, the guy won a Super Bowl there, right? So, I mean, it's not like he's a bad coach. I think he's going to bring some stability to this team. I think he's certainly an upgrade over Jason Garrett. And I think the Cowboys have done just fine with that signing. I feel like that's a signing that exactly, when you're the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys are ever going to just go get some unproven guy and build him up through that franchise, right? They've always seemed to go out and get an established name, whether it was Jimmy Johnson and all his success coming out of Miami, Mike McCarthy, former Super Bowl winning quarterback. This isn't a team that's just going to go and get, you know, a highly respected coordinator from another team and promote him to a head coach here. So I like that signing a lot. I think another strength, I know you mentioned that they lost their center, but on the offensive line returning, you still have La'el Collins, you've got Tyron Smith, you've got Wyatt Miller, who's really good, and you have Zach Martin. So, I mean, with that offensive line, and even if Mike McCarthy wants to kind of settle into a run first, just kind of slow and ugly, you know, old school style football, you've got the team to do that. So they've hired the right guy, I think, in just every capacity. They can run with Ezekiel Elliott. They can obviously throw with Dak. I think they're gonna be great this year.
I feel you. Ezekiel Elliott, one of the top 3 running backs in the league. Dak Prescott had a hell of a season, and you got one of the top 10 quarterbacks, maybe even top 5 in some opinions. The receiving core should be great. That combination of Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and then Amari Cooper, that can compete with any receiving core in the league. Last year, their offensive line was pretty banged up. Tyron Smith was hurt throughout the whole season, but he's coming back healthy, hopefully. They did lose Travis Frederick, but they did draft the center there to kind of replace him. And then, like you said, they still got Zach Martin, one of the best guards in the league, along with La'el Collins, one of the best right tackles in the league. Defensive-wise, they're bringing back obviously they signed Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe to kind of plug up the middle there, but then they also have one of the best pass rushers in DeMarcus Lawrence, and then they also might be getting Randy Gregory back, which could be a nice addition to their pass rush, and then they also signed Aldon Smith, which is very interesting. He's been out of the league for about the last 3-4 years, so we'll see if he can come back in football shape and then be able to be a factor in that pass rush there for them. And then also, I like what you said earlier as well about that linebacking core. For my money, that may be the best linebacking core in football. Van Der Esch, Jalen Smith, and then also Sean Lee. If they can stay healthy, that linebacking core is definitely the strength of this team. And the question really is their secondary. Big loss with Byron Jones, who Byron Jones he didn't create a lot of turnovers. I think he had one interception in his career so far his career.
Yeah.
But he was a formidable corner. Like, he shut down corners. Like, he shut down receivers. People didn't throw his way. So now you're replacing him with Trayvon Diggs, and then on the other side you have Chidobe Awazi.
That's another fun.
Did I nail that?
I think you killed it.
I love that name. And then also you got HaHa Clinton Dix and Xavier Woods. So we'll see how that secondary holds up. On paper, this Cowboys team looks very solid, but they're bringing in a new coaching staff. Mike Nolan, one of the most respected defensive coordinators, one of the most respected defensive minds. I think he's definitely going to have this defense very, very good. My question is going to be our offense. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator. We'll see what he does with this team. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is going to be his first year as an offensive coordinator. And then, we're going to find out if Mike McCarthy is who we thought he is. So,
I mean, if you're telling me that your biggest question for the Cowboys, right? If we're kind of talking about it, I mentioned that they had that little hole at corner, right? But if you're telling me that their biggest, thing that you're worried about is their offense, and this is an offense that features one of the best offensive lines in football: Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CD Lamb, who for my money is the best receiver in that draft. I don't know, man. I think the sky is the limit for this team. I've never been a fan of the Cowboys, so I bring no pleasure in saying that. But I don't know how you could think otherwise with this team. Mike McCarthy's an upgraded coach, and I agree with you, right? We've talked before about how continuity is really important. But I think if there's anyone that could be a stabilizing presence that's not going to bring out all kinds of tricks in the playbook that's going to make things incredibly difficult for a new regime to bring in, I think Mike McCarthy brings that. I think he's from what I can see, he's a player's coach, and he's going to be just fine there, man. This is a very, very good team.
So for their schedule this season, 2020 season, they'll be playing the NFC West and the AFC North. So again, tough divisions to kind of compete against. So they do got to play. They're traveling to Baltimore to play the Ravens, and then also they're playing the Steelers. We'll see what happens with Cincinnati and Cleveland, a very upgraded Cleveland team. We'll see what happens there. And then in the NFC West, that may be the best division in football right now. So it's going to be a tough schedule nonetheless. Prediction wise, what you thinking, Reuter?
So I'm going out on a limb here. I've said in this NFL over and over and over, there's no easy games, and I still think that this is an 11-5 team. I'm putting them at 11 wins. I think they win the division. I think they're much improved, if for no other reason, from a coaching standpoint. I'm a big fan of Mike McCarthy. I think he's going to come in here. He's going to do right by this team. And I think this is a team that's poised for a deep playoff run. I think they finally put it together. And 11-5 on the low end, I think. Even with a tough schedule, this is going to be a very good Dallas Cowboys team.
On paper, this is a 13-win team. However, just from recent history of the Cowboys, I feel like this is going to be just like a 10 to 11 win team. I got the Eagles winning the division with 12-4. And I think the Cowboys will get into the playoffs for sure. They'll secure one of those 7 spots. But I think they get in as a wild card. And I think they could be a very dangerous wild card. They would be one team, if healthy, going into the playoffs that I wouldn't want to play. If I don't care who I am. Dak Prescott, he gets a lot of flack. but the man's a baller. Like, pay him his fucking money.